Dan McDonald, the Life Regenerator. It's been a super inspiration in my life over the last, God, it's probably, I think since early 2000, like 2009 is when I first started watching you. And, you know, I've done several 180s since then, so it's been a lot of growth that's happened. So I just want to just say thank you for everything that you do.
180s, meaning just...
Yeah, like complete 180s, and you know, friends are like, whoa, you know, just not expecting my lifestyle to change so much. But when you're a seeker and you have the flexibility and the willingness to try new things, like we were just talking about in the video that's going to go on his channel, that's to be expected. And just don't get attached to anything, and eventually you'll find your stride and you'll find what works for you. There's so many different keys, but you got to find the one that unlocks your door. So one thing I want to ask you for this interview is, you're doing a talk tomorrow on eating for enlightenment. And I know that you have studied the teachings of many different enlightened masters who have eaten many different things. And you realize that enlightenment's possible regardless of diet.
Correct.
So give us the rundown on how diet can help, and just an overview of what that lecture is going to entail.
Well, you know, what you eat doesn't really affect your enlightenment. The only thing about enlightenment is really just embracing the fact that you already are what you are, and you can never be anything other than that. And you've always been the eternal divine. And it's just, in the context of eating, it's creating clarity within the GI tract, which creates clarity in the blood, which creates clarity in the mind, so that you can have those revelations that you are the divine expression. We get trapped in the linear world, and we put a lot of emphasis and belief into things that may not necessarily be true. And if we're open and available to those things being changed or expanding into a higher level of consciousness and a more expanded viewpoint, then we will continually evolve. And yesterday's experience is no longer true for us. So it's constant evolution. And so eating for enlightenment is really just more like eating for harmony with the body and the love for the heart, clarity of the mind, so that the spirit can just really manifest itself on earth, and you can be a blessing to everyone around you.
So how does diet interact with one's own ability to be relaxed yet aware at the same time? How can tensions within the body dissolve through eating a diet that's more gentle on the system?
Well, that's pretty much
and less dulling for the mind.
That's the question. That's what we're talking about when we bring in the diet, because the physical organism does seem to be ran by laws of nature. And when the system is eating too much food, and it's a low water food, I mean, we know that, you know, scientifically, or just even looking at yourself, that you are actually a water-based electrical being. I mean, you're like 60 plus 70% water, and so, you know, and so when that water begins to become dehydrated, then there can be stiffness in the body, and that stiffness can lead you to an inability to feel good in your body. So we're still in the phase of healthy body, healthy heart, healthy mind, healthy spirit. So people get dehydrated and they absorb too much acid forming foods in the body, and then it creates stiffness and pain, and it's much harder to concentrate and focus when you're in pain. And also foods that are more clean and simple feed the brain. Food feeds the mind at a very subtle level, and when there's too many mixtures and too many foods that are not really natural and unnaturally prepared as well, then the mind just gets confused.
Yeah,
and
it has
lose sight.
You have to devote also too much energy towards digestion, or too much energy towards pain management, instead of devoting it towards the higher purpose, which is the expansion of our awareness. I think that's why people move to a monastery or move to get away from the marketplace, away from business, away from society, is so that they can devote more more energy towards the search of self-actualization. And so energy can be spent in business, or it could be spent on digestion. I mean, you choose which one you want.
Or spiritual realization.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's
The more, like a lot of the masters, they wouldn't necessarily be focused on diet, but there would become a time when they lost the hunger. Not just the hunger for food, but the hunger for wanting.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Wanting something outside yourself to fill you up. Food being one of the more socially acceptable ones to fill in that empty space. But as soon as the master is evolving in his process of meditation or whatever, he just loses that need to reach outside of oneself, put something in your mouth, entertain your mind, and fill your stomach. When the stomach is so full, it starts to push a little pressure on the heart, and you can feel that warmth. So food is a source of love for a lot of people. But when you start tapping into the source of love, then you lose a lot of the hunger. That's what's been happening to me lately. That's why I'm not as much of nearly the food addict that I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even a year ago. I mean, I've been just really able to eat simple, clean food because of the focus on love and meditation.
Yeah. And so how do you see an addiction, a conditioned movement towards seeking out some kind of craving, from a natural urge or natural desire?
I think people want freedom, and they want freedom from that desire. So, and the desire is, like a thief. He steals because so there's freedom from want. So even though he's doing it in the wrong way, he still wants freedom, just like the person who's hungry wants freedom from the hunger, which generally, for the most part, in my experience, and probably many others, is that it's a neurological stimulation. It's an empty space filler, because life is just a lot when you're just facing yourself all the time. And you'll notice, like if you do water fasting, how many hours you spend on thinking about food, buying food, preparing it, eating it. It's a huge space filler, and you need to find other things to do. And so, people want the neurological attachment to food and the stimulation. You can be full in your stomach of like oranges or bananas or something, and your mind is still like, oh, salt, pepper, spices. It still wants to, it loves the dance of the neurons.
Yeah, because it's more attractive than, or it distracts us essentially from the pain, the suffering. It's like a brighter light, so you don't look at the one that you don't want to see.
The food is definitely a drug that people use to avoid feeling pain. But when feeling pain starts to get to be fun, and you see it as an opportunity, it's an adventure. Like, how deep does this pain go? How sad can I get? And you turn it around like that, you turn it into a gift. It's like fun. You start exploring, and then you don't need to eat anymore like that. You can just go, oh, I'm so depressed today, I wonder why. And it becomes this cool journey inward to discover the source of the depression. And then you start having this adventure instead of, I'm depressed, oh my God, I gotta find something to distract myself from this because mom and dad and society says depression is bad. I'm saying depression is awesome. It's a great opportunity to explore.
But you have the curiosity to find that, to seek that out, and I think that's the main necessary component, is having curiosity. Like, what's this all about? What's this experience trying to teach me? And going to the bottom of it. So.
That's basically it, because if I don't go to the bottom of it, I can't evolve, and evolution is the key. So for me, the diet thing was just, why am I so damn addicted to food? And I had to look at all the neurological stimulation, I had to look at the emotional suppression aspects of it, as I've tried to evolve to get myself to this place where I understand that if I eat minimally of the highest quality, water-rich, mineral-rich foods, my glands will awaken, I'll remove hardened masses, I'll be able to release all the pharmaceutical as well as the recreational drugs and the energy that goes with that, and I can continue to activate dormant DNA and dormant glands in my body so that I can eat less, be more efficient, look better, feel better, and be a lot clearer. So the potential within each of us is infinite.
Well, you keep getting brighter every year, brother.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you, everybody. My pleasure. Anytime, man.
See ya. And to find your channel, if you don't know them, I'm sure you're all subscribers already, but how do we get in touch?
It is just Google Life Regenerator. You'll see some crazy old video come up. About 2,000 videos now.
Right on. Wow,
on a day.
2,000. Amazing.
Thanks
so
Evan,
much
for being you, man.
Thank you.
Great
Cool.
job.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, didn't feel as